Hello, people of the internet. This is Lee, and today I'm reviewing Wytches. This is issue number 1 of a new series from Image Comics. It's written by Scott Snyder with art by Jacques. I don't know if he's French or not, so I'm giving it both, pronunciations. Moving forward. So this book is, what is it? It's different. It's from Scott Snyder, who's doing some really terrific things on Batman, both the Eternal series and the monthly just straight Batman titled series. So to see his take on something that's an independent title that is creator owned is definitely something that'll be of interest to a lot of people, myself included. From the cover by itself, I know you didn't get the best look of it, but the art just looks terrific from the cover page all through the book. It really doesn't disappoint. The art is very good throughout. The story itself is about the dark, scary things that live in the woods. They're not really well defined in this issue. I feel like we're going to get more of that as the story progresses. But the story isn't just about the dark, scary things that live in the woods. It's about this family, and it tells us how they came to live right next to the dark, scary woods that have the terrifying things in it. And it also it establishes a relationship between the members of that family, the father, the mother, the daughter, and it does a really great job with that. The father feels like a father, like someone who really loves his kid and wants to be there taking care of her all the time, but also wants her to have the freedom to be a teenager and to live her life. And he's just trying to find the balance there. We don't get as much of a feel from the mother, but they seem to have a really good functioning relationship, which is really nice to see. Functioning relationships happen in real life, but they don't make good fiction fodder for the most part, so they don't always get portrayed, and it's nice to see it here, especially in a story that is ultimately meant to be a dark story, that we have this patch of just this is their normal to start with. And really that's where the book is right now. It shows us the dark, it shows us some gory and everything, but we have, like I said, the context for how they came to be here, which is its own dark story, but we don't know a whole lot about what's going on in those woods. We just don't have a lot of context yet, and I'm very curious to see how Scott Snyder builds that and how Jacques continues to illustrate that, because I think that they're working very well together in this book. Something that I also liked about the story is, and it's actually not the comic book itself. At the end of comic books these days, a lot of writers are getting back to letters columns. Obviously, they miss them in their own reading, so they're trying to bring it back. And in first issues, you get a lot of, here's why I'm making this. And, sometimes it's a fairly dull little story, but this one is actually a fairly engaging essay from Scott Snyder talking about when he was a kid and he went and he hung out in the woods and he made up stories and he hunted witches because he and his friend had read the Roald Dahl book Wytches, and that charmed me because Roald Dahl is awesome. So, it gives me a foundation for liking Scott Snyder more, because clearly he had this good taste in literature. And it actually shows pictures of those woods that he's talking about from his own youth. So we have context for the story, we have that basis, and I think being able to relate to the author sometimes helps us enjoy the story a little bit more. Not for everybody, but it's something that I like. So I really appreciate it, and it's a couple pages too. This is not a short essay, so yep. But that's really all I've got on this one. It's pieces that'll come together later, but they're just not really clearly defined at this point. I do think it's a good book. I think that if you're on the fence about it, maybe wait a little bit, get the trade paperback when that comes out in half a year, because that'll have a few issues in one, and those points that aren't clearly defined are there once they have context of a story arc, and I feel like they really get rolling, it'll all come together and it'll be really terrific. But if you want to get in on the ground floor of something new and exciting that's happening with a very big name in the industry right now, Wytches is a terrific way to do it. So I definitely recommend picking this one up if you like a horror comic, even if you're meh about horror, but you just like that character-driven story, because there is such a good character development within that family, and I'm curious to see how that continues. Yeah, he's very respectful of all the characters, and I appreciate that very much. But that's really it for this review of Wytches. If there's anything else you would like me to review, please let me know in the comments. Otherwise, you can like, and also, not otherwise, but you can like and subscribe to my channel. I appreciate that very much. In the meantime, you guys have a great day. Bye.